Hi everyone, welcome to The Grind. We are starting a new series this month. It's called Money Talks.
So let's talk about money.
Yeah, pretty much. That's, you know.
The one thing we don't have. No, I'm just kidding. Wow!
You're not wrong.
We will unpack that mindset in just a bit, but we will tackle it. We'll pray for him. But yes, maybe, okay, wow, okay. So anyways, this whole month we're going to be talking about, we're going to go through different parables, different scripture, and then we're going to learn godly principles in handling money. Yep.
Yes.
So what's the first parable, Pastor Petrina?
Parable of the rich man.
The rich man?
No, wrong one. The Shrewd manager. Shrewd. That's such a weird word. Shrewd. Shrewd
Or should I not?
Spend money. Okay, this conversation is off to a great start. Anyways, it is the parable of the shrewd manager.
Yeah.
Yes, and so actually, since we're talking about money,
Yep.
has there been something that you've spent, talk about experience where you've spent money and for something, and the thought process behind it?
I think for me, the largest one is preparing for our wedding.
Wedding?
Yeah. That's the one.
That's a lot of money.
I've been
Yeah, a lot of
warned.
money. Yes.
A Filipino-Chinese wedding cannot be cheap.
It was okay. I mean,
Did you do a World City tour?
a world city tour pretty much, yeah. we pretty much went to a lot of places and looked for food and stuff, which is the most important, which is food.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep the
But
guests
yeah,
happy.
so I mean that one was almost like a lifetime thing. Like ever since I started working, I earn as much as I can, which is not great. But and then that whole process was painful when you had to let it go. It's a sacrifice, but it's a great experience. Yeah. For me, it's money. Marriage.
Marriage. Oh. Wow, is there other
are they
life
the same thing?
No, they're not.
money and
They're
marriage?
very different.
Okay, all right.
So should we move on to the next question? Because neither of us is going to top marriage. No, I'm
Wedding.
just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I know. I feel like my problems are like very, very not significant compared to Rico's money
No,
spending
it's not.
issues.
Come on, guys. There should be like the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, we talked about that. So I won't go there again. Actually, the one thing that I actively spent a lot of money on without any coercion was
Hot toys.
was a guitar that I have at home.
Oh,
Yes.
So it's a limited edition guitar, and the thought process is I want it.
So you see, it's sort of like a marriage.
Sure,
When
yeah.
you saw a girl, be like, oh, I want
Yes,
it, and then
but-
let's go get married. Let's
But
go see the guitar.
the
Oh,
other
I
part
want-
of the thought process is, and this is not like marriage, I can buy it now and sell it later.
Okay.
So
That's true.
that is genuinely part of the thought process. So I chucked a lot of money at it.
Yeah.
Basically everything I had saved from childhood.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
And now if I sell it, hopefully someone will chuck a lot of money back at me. So yeah.
So
That
it's
is-
like an investment.
That is if you
Smart
actually
Yeah,
sell
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That is if I actually sell it, yes.
Well, I guess with COVID, usually most of my money is spent on traveling, so like buying plane tickets, whatever it is,
Yeah.
but obviously can't travel. So it's been directed to online shopping. Creating experiences for myself at home. Oh, I don't have this pair of earrings.
At least my clothes are traveling.
Exactly. They get to travel through the waters. The waters,
Where did
the
you
air,
come
they get to
from?
fly.
Wait, is your method of traveling now just tracking a package?
Living vicariously through the products that I purchase. Yeah, like, tracking through, Latvia.
That's random, but okay.
No, I've actually bought earrings from Latvia.
Of course you have.
Wow.
Free shipping. So,
Free shipping.
yeah, it's just like, this complements I don't have this. Or like, I don't have any winter clothes, which is a legit problem because, you think like Hong Kong, winter is not so cold and all my short sleeves, and then suddenly it's like winter is like, my days it is cold and I have nothing. Literally, I open my closet and I'm like, what? I don't have any really wintry stuff. Anyways, that's just
Yeah.
my problem. Anyways, yep. Moving on swiftly with life as we talk more about money. All right, so let's see. Now, money is, as what Pastor Peter said, is one of the more talked about, topics in the Bible, which is kind of interesting.
2,300 verses apparently.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot of verses.
I mean, the Bible is a big Bible, but also that's a significant chunk dedicated to money, which means that money and how we handle that is important,
Yeah.
and also how it affects our spiritual journey as well.
Yeah.
It has a significant impact in our
Yeah.
spiritual journey. And so believers, we need to have a higher and different standard in terms of how we view money. So has there been challenges that you find yourself in of how you view money? Situations I find yourself in that really challenge your view of money?
I think the challenge is every month, money in, money out,
Yeah.
right? You have a set amount that comes in, or I don't
Yeah.
know, if you are the side hustling type, maybe you have, varying amounts,
Yeah.
but the variable that we can control is the money out.
Yeah.
And I think that's the challenge, is am I spending it wastefully, or am I spending it wisely? Pastor Peter also talks about spending money within the will of God, doing things to further the kingdom. And I think that's a step beyond just spending money wisely, but that is the challenge, is the in and out, what we do with it.
Yeah, I think for me, one thing that reminded me of is my time in retail. When I used to work at retail, how you try to communicate with your clients, and also how are you going to be dealing with your boss,
Yeah.
and making sure that you're not entirely kind of taking advantage of, for example, there were situations where we wanted to give something to the client because he's planning on buying a lot of things, but he's asking something from us to a point that we're considering putting into some credit notes that haven't been used for the past several years. But the thing is, it's not a very, how do you say, ethical thing to do, something like that.
Ooh,
So yeah, that's what, those are some sort of situations where you kind of get tested in terms of how you handle the money in your workplace wisely. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for some of us, we don't necessarily have to pay rent, because we, let's say, live with our parents, or, our rent's really cheap, or, or some of us, we have to worry about paying all these different bills, And I think because for me, having, live in a place where it's my parents' place, and also I don't have to worry about rent, and then bills not so much, and so sometimes you don't exactly have a conscious, conscious awareness of I need to worry about paying this, I need to worry about paying that. It's just kind of just going with the flow, and suddenly you just kind of not really care too much about money, which is also is a challenge in itself, because you need to also be proper stewards, right? You have all this. It's not whatever, it's there. It's okay, you have this, how can you properly portion it to okay, how do I advance God's kingdom? How do I invest in what Pastor Peter said, invest into souls of people. And so I remember just my dad I think something that also taught me the view of money is that one thing that my dad says he didn't really want to worry us about financial details, that that we're ever lacking or anything. So there's, if anything, growing up, I was never aware of we lacked money, but I do know obviously, and as I get older, as my dad, I'm older, more mature, and my dad shares with me, I'm wow, there have been situations where we're cutting it close. And so I think that in a way translated to how I viewed monies, because it's to not have that worry, in the sense that okay, everything's got it covered. So in a way, I kind of translated that to God the Father, who's covering me, and not really having to worry about that. So I think my dad really, I guess, portrayed that really well, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. Because one time he was telling me that, hey, Pet, actually didn't have enough money to finish college tuition for you. I was like, what?
What?
Really?
I was like, how? And then he's like, but it's okay, God provided. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, God definitely did provide.
I think if I knew about that, when I was in college, I'm like, should I even be here?
I think that's the main reason why he didn't want to tell you
Yeah.
as well. So
I mean, also being away You know, sometimes parents like, they don't want to worry you, but then they hide stuff, and then you're like, but then tell me, you know. But then also like, I guess ignorance is bliss as well.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now, one of the things, obviously, that at the end of the day, is like everything that we've been entrusted, like what Pastor Pierce said, like, you know, the question of money is a heart issue. God knows our heart. Like, what do we, you know, place our hope and trust in? So, everything that we have been entrusted by God is to apply it for our kingdom. So, how we earn money, how we spend money, we want to think about, like, you know, the eternal consequence, you know, or impact that it has. So, like, in what ways are we, like, you know, property stewards of what God owns, you know, and not property owners, and what are implications of this for our lives today? I mean, like, going off the thing that I was just saying just now, like, you know, knowing that, like, all we have is given to us by God, and so in a sense we don't necessarily have to worry. But I know it's also a challenge for people who actually are struggling, with finances.
Like really tight, huh?
Yeah, and then so to say like, oh, God's covered you, you know, and it almost seems like insensitive.
Yeah.
But then also it's like, well, yeah, the balance like of like, you know, being insensitive, but also like this is the truth, like God.
Like it's like an encouragement.
Yeah.
To
Trust, you know, because I know like when you trust God with finances, it's just one of the scariest things because it's like it's something so tangible. Right. Like you're asking me to give like, you know, God my first 10%, but I have like absolutely nothing.
Because that can literally be the difference between having a meal at night or not eating.
Yes.
Yeah.
For some people.
Yeah. Wow.
And that is very scary.
Yeah.
Like, I think when it comes to being a steward or an owner, the experience that I can draw on is again kind of like at uni.
Yeah.
Right. I'm given a certain amount of money
Exactly.
for the entire semester. Right?
Yeah.
It's not mine because I didn't earn it.
Yeah.
It's given to me, so I have to steward it properly. Like literally budgeting down to the last pound how I'm going to spend it, and then maybe getting to the end of the semester and I can like buy something for my PlayStation.
You had a PlayStation in uni? What is this?
No, buy games to take home. But like it's that sort of approach, I guess. Whatever you have is not yes, you've earned it.
Yeah.
Like in the like the tangible world, like you've worked and you've earned money, but you can still see it as a gift from God. And how are you going to like budget that? How are you going to spend it? Not only just to like survive, but also like how are you going to use it for God's purposes?
Yeah, true, actually.
And that's tough when especially when it's tight. Like, how can you do both?
Yeah, because it's like, you know, you have this, and then you like, you know, hear causes, like especially like there was one time when the movie Nefarious was being shown in Hong Kong. And then it's like, oh yes, like, you know, yes, like human trafficking is not good. And then obviously they have like, you know, stations outside after you watch a movie where you can, you know, give money if you want. And it's like, yeah, take all my money, take it and go, you know? And then it's like, but then you also don't want it to be just like giving it out of like a emotional, like, you know, trigger, right? Like, because I saw something else emotional and then I give, you want to give, you know, also genuinely because you want to see people be helped and everything. And so there's a balance between like, I have all the money, like take my money and go, be generous, and then also be like, you know, all like stingy. So there's a fine line between like, you know, you don't want to be like a miser, right? You don't want to be known as like, you know,
Scrooge.
Yeah, Scrooge, or in Hokkien, literal translation, salty olive.
Salty olive.
It's like, because it's called kiam kana, you know, it's like, it's kind of funny, like, and then
sounds kind of gross.
I know it is pretty gross. That's why those who are stingy people are really gross people, you know. And then, I mean, let's be real, they are gross people, right? In the sense, like, you know, you just don't want to be.
Yeah.
So, but you want to be a balance, right? You don't want to be completely like spending all your money, and then it's just like live beyond your means. Because I've definitely had people who I know that like they're not earning a lot, but they're buying like branded sneakers. I'm like, but where's your money coming
But why?
from? Exactly, and then you see them like you see the family like borrowing money. I'm like, but your son is buying like expensive sneakers that never wears, and then you have people who are like just like saving up the money, you know, and then like, but
and even sometimes there are people who are very generous as well, but they're not as generous with their family as well.
Exactly.
You get what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So it's just like,
Is there such a thing as giving irresponsibly?
oh, for
oh,
sure.
definitely. Yeah.
I want to think of like an example, but I got nothing.
Yeah. There is.
But yeah, for sure. But yeah, like, you know, we want to be smart of our spending. You know, be generous and reflect the generosity that God has shown in our lives, but obviously within our means as well. You know, like, and that's a great example that you shared, is that, you know, like at uni, you know, what we had was, you know,
not necessarily ours.
Yeah, not necessarily ours, was given to our parents, and, you know, we have it for a semester to spend.
Yeah.
And, you know, how you spend is your will. Obviously, you know, if you know, run out, you're going to be like, oh, you know, the parents not going to be like, oh, go starve yourself, you know, like, I mean, it's like entrusted to you. So be smart, be wise.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, so in this series, we're going to be, you know, looking at how, in a way, like how money talks in our lives, you know, like how we, you know, spend money. It's also a heart issue, and, you know, and I'm sure like all of us here have our different journeys and interactions with money.
Yeah.
And so, let us know what's your struggles with money, or some situations where you saw God come through and bless you with financial provisions. You know, we'll love to hear. And, you know, and throughout this series, we're just going to be sharing our own experiences with money as well, and our thought processes as well.
Yeah.
And and I'm believing that we're all going to grow in how we're going to, you know, manage our own finances. Yeah. So
this will be a fun series.
Yeah, it'll be a fun series. Thanks for joining, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.